Yo, what is cracking with my fellow POTsies? Haven't talked to you guys in a minute. Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, like this video if you do end up liking it. Today we're gonna talk about how to avoid deconditioning with POTS.
All right, so I have had what I would call two major setbacks in my lifting and fitness career in the past year and a half. No, year. And they have both been my neck. I got a C67 root nerve injury, which basically prevented me from pressing a 26-pound kettlebell overhead or anything heavier. Honestly, even lighter was tough. I didn't have full strength and function in my arm for about 3 months. I finally got back to training, and then 6 months into recovery, I just injured my neck again. Thank God I didn't get any nerve issues this time. I still had full strength. It's just mobility wasn't there, and I had some referral pain, I guess, down my arm. It was really uncomfortable. It's lasted for about 4 weeks. But this all kind of builds into how to avoid deconditioning with POTS, because I've had to try to find ways and work with my coach to find ways in order to not become deconditioned and still keep my fitness up while trying to recover from this injury and deal with injury and stay as fit as possible, because my plan is to actually start competing in a thing called high rocks. I'll get back to CrossFit eventually, but right now I can't really do the same volume of training that I was doing when I was full bore CrossFit due to business stuff, podcast stuff, content, all that. So yeah, doing my neck exercises right now. I know it looks silly. So Justin, what does this have to do with POTS, and why is this applicable to me at all? I'll tell you why. Because when you are recovering from POTS, or if you have become recovered, for certain there will be a time where you will have some sort of setback. And that will be maybe your schedule gets a little bit more hectic. Maybe you are unfortunate enough to deal with an injury. Maybe something just happens in your life that prevents you from training the same way that you were before if you are recovered or exercising or doing whatever. So when that does happen, because it's inevitable, life happens, right? I'm not saying that you're gonna get injured or anything like that. I'm not trying to be negative. You're okay? So let's keep all the negative stuff out of here. But when the time comes where your schedule gets too busy, or maybe you're unfortunate enough to deal with an injury, or something happens, maybe you're just not as frequent in the gym as you were before, you need to come up with a plan on how to not get deconditioned, because a large portion of why people get, would you say relapse maybe, or start having POTS symptoms again, is because they lose their fitness. Or a big reason why people can't deal with their symptoms with POTS is because they lose their fitness. You gotta come up with a plan, and you have to know how to handle that. I am so freaking sick of this bipolar weather, dude. We had 2 weeks of straight up 60s and a couple days of 70s, and now it's freaking cold again. But I'm trying to train outside. I'm trying to train in my shed because I like to work out here, but I'm my fingers are freaking cold. My everything is cold. I'm trying to figure out if I should just go to the gym after I do my rehab stuff, after my exercises. By the way, we're making a huge addition to this area right here on Monday. On Monday, it all comes in. We are super, super stoked and pumped about this. Man, all right. So I'm using the outdoor squat rack for sure today because my fingers are freaking cold. And even at the home gym, it is unacceptable to wear gloves while lifting. Not that they would be the same type of gloves whatsoever, but you guys get what I'm saying. We got some back squats on the menu today. It takes a little bit longer for me to get warm now, especially because I'm trying not to wear knee sleeves, so stuff on my knees to protect them. My calves are super tight too. My range is just not quite there. All right, so we got, I think, 225 on the menu today. So I skipped all the warm-up sets for the sake of not boring you guys. We're at 225 now. Let's see how it goes, 5 reps. I'm going beltless today because that's another thing that I feel like I've been doing is just guarding my back so much. Whatever. In CrossFit, you guys, you go through these periods of time where you're like, I think that this will be better. I think that this will give me better. It's exclusive to CrossFit. 5 reps. Here we go. Remember, I haven't back squatted really in a long time because of this neck. Feels pretty good, feels pretty easy. We gotta stay there though for now. Rested about 2 minutes, I think. Here's set number 2. Set number 2. Nice. We feeling good, dog. We are feeling good, dog. I'm gonna, yeah, show you guys the next exercise. Do these last 2 sets without the camera. Again, I don't want to bore you guys. Bore you? Bored you? Bore you. It's bore you. All right, so my first tip to avoid deconditioning, the first thing that I have to say is do not become sedentary and make sure you are doing resistance exercise and making that a priority. So often when people get sick, we tell them to rest and take time off. Don't do too much and don't do too little, you know, all this stuff. What I'm gonna say is don't do too little. And definitely don't do too much resting, because a body that's at rest is waiting for a slow death. I promise you that. The longevity science is clear on how important building muscle is and having muscle and sustaining muscle throughout your life. And if it's healthy for a person that's not sick, I guarantee you it's a lot more healthy for a person that is sick. So I left my kettlebells, my 53-pound kettlebells at the gym that I'm now training people at, super part-time. And so I was supposed to do front rack kettlebell front squats. And now I have to do it with dumbbells. So it's not gonna be the same thing, but it's close enough, right? Ooh, that didn't feel great on the knee. The hardest part of this one is just finding a not awkward position to sit in. Like my glute is so stretched. Ow. From injury to being recovered. Oh my gosh, come on. All right, other side. There we go. Here we go. This glute is so tight, stretching so much. Stick to it, stay with it, stay with it. You can do anything. You can do anything for 30 seconds. You will not quit. You will not quit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That extra second. Yep, all right, let's go. I just brought the arsenal of equipment out here. We got the bike erg right there. We got the rower, we got the treadmill, and then kettlebell. Because I got 30 minutes of a continuous AMRAP of, let me see, where's my phone? It's gonna be a 40 cal bike, 20 cal row, 400 meter run, and then 20 Russian kettlebell swings. Cardio, that's the next point too. We're gonna get into that after I show you guys a round or two of this. Tarp off right away in typical CrossFit fashion. Here we go. AMRAP 30 minutes. Who does this to somebody? Neighbors are out doing yard work. Probably think I'm crazy. Like, who's this young man? Young Mexican man outside with a shirt off in 50-degree weather. Oh my gosh. That was so miserable. It wasn't that bad. In all honesty, it's that I can't breathe in the cold air. Keep having a cough. I have POTS syndrome. Of course, I think an emergency is happening to me. I have POTS syndrome. Of course I think a medical emergency is happening right now. Not really. I'm thinking of making a TikTok like that. Oh. So now, the next tip to this, I'm gonna do a 10-minute cool down, because really, you should always cool down. But especially with POTS, you should cool down if you did semi-high heart rate training. So the next portion of this is cardio. Obviously, I've talked about this a million times, that zone 2 cardio is what I think is the most beneficial, at least for recovering from POTS. However, for this circumstance, I think that playing with all the heart rate zones is really beneficial, mainly high intensity training. If you're in a position where you're limited on time and, you know, or maybe you're injured or you just have a setback, like we've been talking about this whole video. I don't know why my brain's dead right now from that. Playing with higher intensity intervals is really good because you can get the job that needs to be done in a shorter period of time. And with that too, you make adaptations for higher heart rate. When you make those adaptations, it's likely that your resting heart rate will be lower. Luckily for people with POTS, it doesn't take much to get into a higher intensity heart rate zone. The other portion, zone 2, I still think is super important, but especially people with POTS, I like to give step count recommendations because you can get that zone 2 cardio out of the way basically from doing that. You might not actually hit that zone 2 heart rate, but the aerobic, you know, adaptation that you make from just getting a bunch of steps in a day, the blood pressure regulation, heart rate regulation can be very, very beneficial, very profound. I give all my POTS clients step count recommendations and progress them through those as they get better and better. Oh, not for me to recover. Oh.
All right, y'all, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you did like it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new. We'll talk to y'all in the next one, hopefully soon. Peace out, goodbye.